Gentleman from California, Mr. Issa, for a 5-minute question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Madam Secretary, I couldn't be happier that you're exactly where you are. Many of us had the honor of serving with you when you were in the House, and candidly, when I hear the jealousy of the ranking member for the job you're doing and his inaccurate statements, that's all I hear is, you know, you were better than this body, and you're proving it every day, you and President Trump. You know, the ranking member is entitled to his opinion and to that dialogue berating you and everything the administration's doing. He's just not entitled to his facts. And I'd like to spend my time concentrating on a few of those. Madam Secretary, were any laws changed significantly between the time of, let's say, President Obama or President Clinton and their enforcement of the border and Joe Biden's 4 years?
No, there wasn't, sir.
And were any laws changed between the time that Joe Biden let 10 million plus people into the country, including the worst of the worst from around the world, and the time that you and President Trump began working?
No, there wasn't.
So it's not about laws. It's not about the calls of things being constitutional or unconstitutional. Isn't it true that every president except President Biden spent a lot of time, energy, and public relations letting people know that the border was a place to be respected and that we would deport particularly criminals coming to our country?
That is correct.
So regardless of what the ranking member says, all you've really done with gusto, with tenacity, and with all the funds you've been able to have is you've done exactly what President Clinton did, or President Obama, or any other president who respected the Constitution and the laws we've already passed.
That is correct.
So I want to touch on a personal note, though. You've been to the White House. You've been to the vice president's residencies. Both of those exist as working places, but they exist as places to protect people who, in fact, would be attacked. Is it fair to say that you and your family are at greater risk because of the job you're doing than anyone who's had your job perhaps since 9/11?
Yes, sir. I can't speak specific to the threats, but
and so when the ranking member spends so much time talking about your being in a protective housing, by the way, one that is under your authority and one that the head of the Coast Guard normally would be in, I'm just going to make a statement, a view, an opinion, and hopefully the ranking member will agree with this opinion. The chances that the commandant of the Coast Guard is going to be attacked for the job he's doing, and the chance that you will be attacked causes both of you to be in protective housing. You're simply in the housing that he historically had, and I want to thank the administration for recognizing the threat on you and your family for the work you do. Yes.
Let me clarify a couple of things. I'm not in the commandant's house. I'm in a Coast Guard house, but not the commandant's house. The commandant is in his house. And I will also tell you that I rent that facility. I rent where I stay and pay personal dollars to do that. So
I'm hearing the ranking member making statements that aren't true, but they're his opinions. I want to thank you for correcting that. I apologize for not knowing it was the commandant's residence. I have been in that in the past, and he does use it for both official and unofficial. It's the reason he has it. And the CNO is also housed in an alternative. And by the way, that alternative, just for history, we moved the vice president under Gerald Ford to that residency, and Congress did it and has made the decision that protecting key people and their families so they can do their job is important. And I want to make that point clear today. Now, the ranking member will doubtlessly be the next person, and you will have to put up with 5 minutes and 1 second of berating again. So I want to give you this last 50 seconds to talk just once more about the families behind you, because he implied that he was compassionate for those families, that he understood it. I'm looking at them, and Madam Secretary, I don't see them as being here in support of those 4 years of Joe Biden and the ranking member's administration.
No, and it's interesting because when President Trump was here in his last term, he opened up an office at ICE to help these families, to give them information on support, mental health account that they might need, or also knowledge on court cases of the individuals who had killed their children. And when Joe Biden came into office, he closed down that Voices office, completely shuttered it, because that office also tracked how many victims there really were in the country that had been affected by illegal alien crime. So when I came in, I didn't have any data set to use because Joe Biden and his administration had completely quit keeping track of the amount of victims here. We're grateful that they're here today. We're grateful that the Voices office is back open again, and that these families now can know where their children's killers are. They can follow that, and they can make sure that they hold people accountable to not enforcing the law.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. I yield back.